Ahoy everyone, it is Jeff aka God the Scummer. I am going a bit old school, recording a video on a mobile device in the pub with cigarette and pint of Guinness, so it's kind of very old school for me. I'm sorry I haven't been active in a while. A lot of that's due to like personal life stuff, real life stuff. Something happened yesterday that I feel the need to comment on, or at least I became aware of something yesterday that I feel the need to comment on. Once again, I'm revisiting. I've talked about this organisation before, and it's called Atheist Alliance International, and I've spoken about them a couple of times, and I've followed the story at a bit of a distance, meaning I sort of know what's going on, but I haven't done I haven't necessarily done the deep dive that others have made into this organisation and a lot of the issues that happened. But essentially, this is a too long, didn't read version of events, okay, which I'm going to give in this video. Now, before I do that, though, I will say I'm hoping to do maybe a in-depth live stream or something at some time, where hopefully I can get a few people on who are a bit more familiar with the situation and the ins and outs, that can maybe articulate the issues that have gone on in this organisation way better than I can, which I hope to do at some point, so watch out for that. So, too long didn't read version. Atheist Alliance International was an organisation. It was formed in the 90s at some point. I forget which year off the top of my head. It is an international sort of organisation that is made up of affiliates of different atheist and secular organisations around the world. The point being to kind of lobby on behalf of atheist groups around the world, globally. And I'll say, look, they've done some very good work in the past. They may even still do some good work now. I mean, I'm not really an atheist activist myself, but I understand the need for atheist activism. There is a genuine need for it. I suppose I'm kind of somewhat lucky. I'm in a country where you're not persecuted or, stigmatised too much for being an atheist. And that's not to say it doesn't happen in the UK, but it's not like we're facing a death sentence or something for apostasy or something if we say we're an atheist in the UK. And I think a lot of the point of this organisation was so these different groups could come together on an international level and challenge stuff like this. This organisation managed to get consultative status with the United Nations. It got participatory status in the Council of Europe, which is not to be confused with the European Union, although there's some crossover there, which I don't have time to get into. But it had that participatory status where it could lobby, in terms of things where we're dealing with things like the European Courts of Human Rights and so on. But we will come back to this in a second, because this is the point of this video. But if we go back to, say, late 2017, and again, this is the too long didn't read version of this, that there was a coup that took place in Atheist Alliance International with a small group of people who kind of took over at a time when there was a little turmoil in the organisation, although nowhere near as much as they make out there was. The new people came onto the board, and they kind of almost effectively they changed the bylaws to kind of suit themselves. I mean, but essentially what they did was they destroyed democracy within this organisation, which is kind of which is bad because the affiliates members or whatever are not getting the say they should have, and B, the fact that the fact that they had these things with the UN and or with the Council of Europe kind of relies on them being a democratic organisation. Now, there's two kind of different narratives I've personally heard out of this from various people who are either been on the board of AAI, still on the board of AAI, or former members of the board of AAI when this coup d'etat took place. And one of it is that they did nothing wrong. They totally followed the existing bylaws, and they changed the bylaws within the existing framework. Now we have other people, and I'll say his name, John Richards or whatever, whose narrative is that the organisation was in such turmoil that there had to be special measures put in place, and because the organisation was in such a state, blah blah blah, that there needed to be special measures put in place until they could return the organisation back to democracy, which is two counter narratives going on here, neither of which seem to be very true. However, one of the things that's happened since this coup d'etat happened is they lost their status as a non-profit, basically their tax exempt status, because they're registered in the United States. They lost that. Recently, what I found out yesterday is they lost their participatory status in the Council of Europe. That is a big blow, I believe, to atheist organisations that are actually that are doing atheist activism and who want to work within the framework of a group like AAI. And let's be clear about this: AAI was the only group that had this status. The only atheist group in the world that has this status is the only group in the world that has this status with the United Nations, which obviously took a lot of work, hard work over a lot of years to get that kind of recognition, and that can go in there and lobby on behalf of atheists around the world. They've just lost this thing with the Council of Europe. I think there's something seriously wrong here, that this group, this small cabal that took power, are not even running this organisation effectively now. You can argue that they ever were running the organisation effectively. In the time they've done this, they have lost their non-profit status. Now they have lost this, and this, I cannot stress this enough, in the Council of Europe was the only atheist group. You look at some of the other groups, pretty much all the major religions and their advocates who will push their agendas are represented. Atheists are not anymore represented on the Council of Europe anymore. And you kind of got to... It's just frustrating to me, because we don't have an alternative organisation at the moment we can go to that's got that. There's no, we certainly don't have this within the United Nations. The AAI has this status with the United Nations still, but now they've lost this status with the Council of Europe. I'm wondering, I have to ask the question right now, how fragile is their UN status right now?
Yeah, it will be, yeah, because it's got to be.
I have to ask this question. And I have to ask this question as an atheist. And here's the thing. I feel other atheists needs to really start looking at this more closely. And as I said, I am not doing this. I know I am not doing this situation justice at all. I seriously suggest people go and check out Free Thought Prophet, in particular John Hamill, who was a former secretary of AAI who left in 2017, but has really knows the organisation, has documented this going on for ages now. And this is the troubling thing to me, is that the general sort of thing from AAI is, from their board is, they just, anytime you try to bring this stuff up with them, they deflect. Well, yeah, but we're still doing really good work around the world, blah, blah, blah. And that the people who've actually hurt AAI are the actual critics. And no, it's not the critics, it is the actual board that seize control and have ruined this organisation. They are the problem from what I can see here. And so I guess the point of this video, as I said, this is a short, very much too long, didn't read video. The point of this is a couple of things I want to say. First of all, so I say to a lot of atheists or whatever who follow my channel, please start looking into this story a bit more. I'll put the link to Free Thought Prophet's channel or something in the description. Go check them out. They have done some deep dives into this, especially John Hamill, who formerly was on the board of AAI and has documented the issues that have plagued this organisation. You know, that's one thing. But I'd say this, atheists, please start paying attention. Also, to any of the guys involved with atheist organisations that may be affiliates of AAI right now, start asking the questions within your organisations and demanding that your organisations start asking questions of AAI as to what the fuck is going on with that organisation. That question needs to be asked. Those questions need to be asked. And finally, this kind of advisory council or whatever that AAI have got, because they've got a number of people who are not on their board, but they're advisory councils. Where is your voice in this right now? Why are you? I want to see people who are on this AAI advisory council start asking questions of this organisation's board, because there is a major problem here. I'm not doing this video to hate on AAI. I want to actually, if anything, I want to see this organisation saved, if it's at all possible at this point, because we all know the only other alternative is to try and form something new on an international basis, and that takes a lot of work. That is not something that will be an overnight process. So I think if we can, we need to try and save the organisation that exists, and somehow. But I would say that would be my general message of this video. Atheists that watch this, start asking questions. If you are part of an atheist organisation that is an affiliate of AAI, if you're on the board of anything that is affiliated with AAI, start asking questions of them now. If you were on this advisory council of AAI, you need to be asking the questions right now, because something is wrong here. This is a real blow to atheists, certainly across Europe right now, that their voice is not getting heard on the Council of Europe. As things don't change, I can see that UN status being revoked as well. Please remember all the advocacy groups of other religions are there and are getting their voice heard in Europe. Atheists are not right now because of and I'm just going to say that we're outright, the fuckery of the board of AAI. Okay, this has been more of a getting stuff off my chest rant, too long didn't read video on this. There's a lot I haven't got into, an awful lot I haven't got into. I plan on maybe doing a live stream. Hopefully I'm going to reach out to some of the people who the critics of AAI, if they want to come on and talk to me, I'm great. And listen, if you're on the board of AAI, or if you're a defender of AAI, please come and talk to me as well. Please. Hey, tell me why I'm wrong on this. I want to know. If I'm completely wrong on this, please come and tell me. But the way I see it right now is this organisation is in turmoil. It is in turmoil, and the only people getting hurt by this are atheists. Okay, so it's been Jeff, aka Dr. Scummer. Shall see you all later. Salute.